Boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages, just another prime example of Rings of Power being nothing more than a vanity project for a bunch of people trying to push a political agenda and force their way and take Tolkien's wonderful lore and just wear it around as nothing more than a skin suit. Well, I'll tell you what, after the disastrous dumpster fire that they've had and the $1 billion that they have burned on this series to only have their ratings and their viewership continue to plummet, get cut in half from where it was to season 1, well, this is another example of why, boys and girls, because they don't respect Tolkien's lore, they don't respect the fans, they think you're all just a bunch of idiots out there, and they can push out whatever kind of nonsense they want, and they'll just lap it up. Well, we all know better than that, ladies and gentlemen. In this latest example of comparing the fall of Khazad-dûm to climate change is just another prime example that they don't care about the lore, they never cared about the fans, and they never cared about actually making a good quality show, that they only ever cared about pushing an agenda, and that's exactly what we've got right here. So we're checking out this article from That Park Place, getting all of the juicy details and see exactly what this moron said. But before we do, if you do enjoy our content, hit that like button, share it with all your friends, and subscribe or follow if you have not already, boys and girls, because we are grinding, we are growing, and I could not do that without every single one of you. Also, if you'd like to support the channel, check out the links in the description down below, and while you're down there, make sure you leave us a comment, let us know what you think about all of this, and is this really any kind of... Does this seem like just like the most shoehorned, idiotic line that he just jammed into something over here that makes absolutely no sense? Or do you think his comparison is actually accurate? Let us know what you think about all that in the comment section down below. So from thatparkplace.com and our dear sweet John F. Trent. The Lord of the Rings of Power showrunner compares the destruction of Khazad-dûm to climate change. Yes, climate change. Patrick McKay, one of the showrunners on The Lord of the Rings of Power, compared the destruction of Khazad-dûm. In an interview with The Hollywood Reporter following the conclusion of the show's second season, which, by the way, the ratings are absolutely abysmal for, McKay was asked by James Hibberd over in Khazad-dûm, "I'd always had the impression that once the Balrog was released, he wreaked havoc and drove everyone out of the mines immediately. But in your story, this is more of a gradual," and yes, your story is a very, very accurate way to put that. Not Tolkien's story, not what the actual lore says. No, your story, because that's exactly what it is. Because of course it's all about my story and my interpretation. Me. Oh, these people. The city is still occupied, and they're still going to be fighting for it going into season 3. McKay responded, "There is a thing where, how do societies fall? Usually it's gradually, and then all at once. If you want to use climate change as a metaphor, climate change is not an event. Climate change is a process that ebbs and flows." Oh, you mean like the weather? "That's always headed in a dark direction, though." Oh, okay, because, like, even when the global warming thing didn't work out for you, and before that it was the global cooling thing didn't work out for you, now you're just going to go, well, it's climate change, and it ebbs and flows, and sometimes it'll be worse, and sometimes it'll be better, but you have to listen to us and give us money. Okay. And so, what, the fall of Khazad-dûm's going to go back and forth, and they're going to have like some wins and some losses, because that's not really how it goes down in the actual stories in any way, shape, or form. "I think a kingdom as great and powerful as Khazad-dûm does not fall in a moment. The fall of the product of many disasters over time. I think it would sell Khazad-dûm short for the Balrog to get out, and then it's all over. It's more complicated. We think there's a bigger story to be told here." Well, and that's fair, because according to the actual lore itself, the complete and total fall did take about a year. So you could easily do more of that and tell a little bit more of a story. But the comparison to climate change? Really? Like, tell me that does not feel like the most shoehorned thing you've ever seen. Like, why? Why would you even bring that up? You'd be like, well, if you actually read the legendarium, it actually took, it took quite a while. It took about a year, and we really wanted to kind of express that and kind of do proper stuff. Like, that would have been a perfectly okay statement. It would have all been lies and bullshit, but it still would have been a perfectly okay statement. But the fact that you have to shoehorn climate change into an interview about your fantasy series, if you can even call it that, like, literally shows you that their minds are only ever thinking of one thing, and their talking points and their agenda and that kind of nonsense over and over and over again. That's all that matters to them. They never had any desire to respect Tolkien's lore. They never had any desire to respect the fans or give the audiences what they want. No. All they wanted to do was push an agenda. Obviously, we talked about this with the representation that they were screaming about with the elves and every rest of that kind of nonsense, and it's really, really, really odd, and now they tried to, like, shoehorn it in by saying he's only a half elf. But it's one of those situations where you can actually go back to the lore, And that's one of the things John Trent does a really good job bringing it all in here, right here. Now, if you want to go, definitely go check out that Park Places article and go read the whole thing if you want it. But the breakdown is it comes down to this. In Appendix B, Tolkien revealed that Durin's death occurred in TA 1980, while Nain died 1 year later. Died a year later in TA 1981. It also notes that the dwarves fled TA in 1981. It's clear that comparing the fall of Khazad-dûm to climate change is an utterly ridiculous, and Himbard was accurate in his impressions that the kingdom was ravaged in short order by the Balrog as it was awakened in 1 year and then had slain both Durin and his son a year later, leading to the surviving dwarves to flee the kingdom. And like I said, if he would have said that, he's like, well, there's really actually about a year there. Not only when you show that he knows the lore and understands it, but no. He just wanted to use this as an excuse to compare something to climate change. McKay's commentary is just more proof that he cares not for Tolkien's legendarium, but is more focused on pushing his own political agenda. He is part of the Hollywood apparatus that does not adapt or create stories to tell a story, but only to further their political agenda. Not only is it to further his own political agenda, but the intention is clearly to desecrate Tolkien's work as well. And it absolutely is. And it is. It's absolute desecration. It's an absolute abomination. And guess what? They're getting exactly what they deserve. Their ratings are absolutely in the toilet. Nobody's watching this. It's literally got less than 1 million people per episode watching, which back in the days of television, if you were getting less than 1 million views per episode, your series was canceled overnight. But we know why it's not, right? We know why it's not, because this is big tech. This is Jeff Bezos trying to break into the Hollywood sphere, right? He wants to spend $1 billion because that's the only way they can hire these kind of people. Because guess what? Nobody in Hollywood wants to work with these tech bros because they all think they're better than them. They're elitist. But guess what? Their money still pays. And $1 billion on this disastrous dumpster fire is exactly what Jeff Bezos and everybody else over at the Amazon studios did completely and totally deserves. You have lost over half your audience consistently over something that because of your own pride and your own ego, you will not be able to find yourself a smart reason as to cancel, and you will continue burning millions and millions of dollars more. So go ahead. Please do. We will continue to roast you, laugh at you, and make fun of you, and make sure that Tolkien's lore is respected above all else, and we will never, ever let you forget that there are fans out there who love and understand Tolkien's work and will continue to roast, make fun of you, and laugh at you until this absolute abomination show is finally canceled. And after all, you're going to get exactly what you deserve. Keep on burning billions, Jeff Bezos. It's your money after all. Do what you want.